everyone, it's Rabbi Shmuel Pollen. I just came across a video by a man named Logicked, and people have been commenting on my videos, and they say that they came from his video, so I thought I would discuss what his video says, and his video is all about debunking one of my videos, 25 proofs that God definitely exists, irrefutable, and I still stand by that, absolutely, after hearing his entire video and everything that he said. And he hasn't gotten to all the points that I've made yet, but so far what he said does not debunk anything that I have said in my video. And I want to actually thank him because it forces me to make my arguments stronger and more complete. And I also thank him because I know he could have been a lot more disrespectful and mocking than he was. I've had many discussions with many atheists, and they can get pretty nasty. And I also just recognize that after I've spent hundreds of hours debating with atheists, pages and pages of comments going on and on, and I know no matter what I say, you're going to have a retort. And whatever you say, I'm going to have a retort. And it can go on for hours and hours and hours. So I'm not going to go through the entire video and make a response. I'm just going to go through the first little part, and then we can go back and forth about that and discuss it. I think it will be a fruitful discussion. You're an intelligent guy. I'm curious as to why you don't show your face or your identity. Why is that? I'm sure you have a good explanation for that. You're a very well thought out person. I respect you very much. But I want to explain to you more about what I said in my video, and so you'll understand better. So much like the way the universe was created, I wrote the word irrefutable on purpose. I know that what I said in that video stands up to logic, and while it may require a new layer of sophistication from me in how my arguments are made, I do believe that when the arguments are made, a logical person is compelled to believe that God or something like God must exist. So first, logic takes issue with what I said when I said the world was created from nothing. And he says, what is nothing? How does that work? How can you create from nothing? So let's just keep this as simple as possible. Let's just define nothing as the lack of something. And any child really knows what nothing is, because when a magician has the cups and he's moving them around and the ball is under one of them, the kids all know that the other cups have nothing and one cup has something. So it's a lack. And that's how Judaism says the world was created. I mean, who knows how it was created? This is the tradition handed down from the Jewish sages and from the Bible, that is created from nothing. They call it ex nihilo in Latin. Now, how does something come out of nothing exactly? Nobody claims to know that. Certainly not me. And it's something only the creator would know. But there's nothing illogical about believing that it came from nothing. I mean, it's here, and it had a starting point. Most agree to that. So it must have come from nothing, but we don't know exactly how it did. And as you say many times, there's nothing wrong with not knowing. There's nothing wrong with not having a complete explanation. So we don't have a complete explanation about how something came from nothing. It's debated in Jewish mysticism, and the debate is not for a discussion like this. Post-creation, it's true, nothing comes from nothing. So that sort of resolves the dichotomy, it resolves the contradiction that you have in your head about we say the world came from nothing, but also that we say nothing comes from nothing. Well, the world came from God. God created existence as nothing, and then once it was created, and once the ball was, so to speak, rolling, it has to be created from something. Everything post-creation has to be created from something. So we believe God created an empty space, and then through that, he created the world out of that empty space. So yes, it was created from nothing. And he says that something out of nothing has never been seen. So this is an interesting point. I would argue that it has been seen, and it's seen all the time. Because, just as one example, a seed sort of decomposes and breaks down before it becomes a tree. So it sort of becomes like nothing. I don't know if it's exactly nothing, but it's sort of like nothing for such huge, redwood tree to happen. Jesus died, so his life became nothing. And then out of that death came the biggest religion in the world. 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, and the state of Israel came out. So when things become nothing, amazing things can come out. There's a lot of examples of that throughout history and throughout biology. He talks about my proof about how humans build particle accelerators, and we know that. And he seems to be suggesting that that nature created particle accelerators. I think his discussion of my proof about the particle accelerator, he really missed the point. I know that particle accelerators are made by man, and my point is that the atom is even more difficult to create than a particle accelerator. Therefore, it must be made by someone greater than man. That's my only point. He points out that I used the word complex, and that's a funny word to use about atoms. I know that atoms are like the elemental stuff of existence, but he is aware of subatomic particles. So why is he not putting that together? If there's subatomic particles and they're working together to create a functioning atom, so why doesn't that make it extremely complex? I mean, atoms are, if they have subatomic particles and they're doing all kinds of crazy things, and you have an atom that comes out of that, that's pretty complex. It's almost like its own little universe. It's a very complex thing. And you know that because you mentioned subatomic particles. You're just not putting it together. To me, the fact that the world finds a balance, which you talk about, seems to be the product of an intelligent creator of the world, rather than no creator of the world. Because even a child can see that if something is balanced, it was done with intelligence. Balance is a mark of intelligence. It's a clue. It tells you that something was done intelligently. Atoms were not caused by scientists, but there's also no reason to believe that they're caused by anyone else, you say. In other words, you're saying just because we don't know where something came from, it doesn't mean it came from God. Well, we all agree post-creation that creation didn't come out of nothing. It came from somewhere, something. And if we just examine the atom, what conclusion are we to draw? What is a rational person to draw from that? We would draw the conclusion that it came from something, that it came from intelligence. And we call that God, but you don't have to call it God. You could call it Zeus. You could call it Buddha. It doesn't really matter at this point. You have an unknown. And this is the point that you don't understand. We're not saying because of the atom, it must be, the God of Sinai. It must be the God of the Bible. Nobody is saying that. Nobody's saying that proves that God. What we're saying is we have an unknown here. There appears to be an unknown. And you know it's an unknown, and I know it's an unknown. The scientists know it's an unknown. I know it's an unknown. We all know and agree that it's unknown how the atom got here and how it wound up so unbelievable the way that it is. The religious person is just saying, let's learn more about that unknown. And we draw more conclusions. That's why I have certain proofs about the painting and certain proofs about the watch, because it's important to look at more and more examples because they tell you more and more and more about that unknown, whatever you want to call it. Learn about the unknown. That's what learning is. It's the essence of learning, to learn about that which is unknown. We know it's something. There's something out there. You know that and I know that. There's something out there. The world cannot be explained by random events. It's just not possible. The balance, the harmony, the majesty, the beauty, it just doesn't naturally lend itself to the conclusion that it was caused by random events. It lends itself to the conclusion that it was done purposefully and intelligently. So that's what we believe. So we look at the unknown, we say, well, it must be purposeful, it must be intelligent, it must be big, it must be strong, it must be powerful, it must be wise. Based on what we see in the world, we gather more and more evidence as to what that unknown is. And by the way, realize that you're always on the defense because we're bringing evidence that God exists, and all you do is try to tear down that evidence. But then we just bring more evidence and more evidence. We can bring the watch. We can bring the rainbow. We can bring the atom. We can just keep bringing more and more and more. And you have to keep knocking down every single one. It's like bowling. You have to knock down every single pin that we throw up. But you're never going to win because there's so much evidence that something like God exists that you will never be able to totally debunk all the evidence that we can bring, all the suggestions that the world has that the world was created by an intelligent creator. So I hope you'll think about what I said, and like I said, I'm just going to go for the first couple topics because I know we could go back and forth. And I know we can't go back and forth about 25 topics. So let's just go back and forth about one, and try to understand that we're not saying the atom proves the God of the Bible. We're trying to say that the atom proves there's something out there with intelligence and power. And now let's begin the process of trying to determine what that is, and has he revealed himself in any way at any time? Has he shown us his will? Has he shown us what he wants from us? Does he have a purpose for us? And that's what religion is about. Finding that unknown, finding that purpose, and hopefully people come to the conclusion that I've come to, which is that it's all about the Torah, the Bible, the 7 Noahide laws, that kind of stuff. I hope people will reach that conclusion. That's sort of what I push. That's what I'm trying to get out there. But just realizing that there's an unknown is a big step unto itself. To realize that there's something out there and I don't know what it is, and I want to search for it because it's important, because it's the truth. I want to know what that unknown is all about. I want to know what that unknown wants from me, if it wants anything. So I hope you will join me in the search for the unknown, because that's what we both want to know about, in true learning, in true respect of each other and of humanity. And together, may the religious people and the atheistic people come together in their shared values of belief in the unknown and the belief in data and evidence, because we do not deny science in any way, completely believe in science, and we just know that science actually lends itself towards a belief in a higher power. And we see that, and you seem to not be able to see that. So I hope you will merit to see that soon, and I look forward to your reply. God bless.